And just as important, you would have built the foundation and momentum for your entire career. It is practical, realistic, and easy to apply. It's about the fundamentals that determine your level of success in the business of real estate. From our research with top agents, we have found that they too started their careers with these fundamentals, and they continue to do them along with their teams to this very day. And it's not hard. It just requires a little focused effort, a few hours every day. Now, there is really just one way to achieve the goal. It's lead generation. Other skills are important, yet without leads to work with, your skills won't mean a thing. Dealing with business never takes precedence over what? Finding business. Never. Research shows that top producing agents make lead generation their #1 priority and the one thing they make sure they always get done. You can do this. And when you do, you will get the leads, the relationships, the experiences, the career, and the income that you want and deserve. Go get them, and good luck. Hi, I'm Gary Keller.
All right, how's that? Did that work out? Did you guys hear that?
Yes.
All right, very good.
This course will allow you to get
All right, we're getting back to it here. There we go. Nothing else about your business will have as big of an impact on it as the number of leads you have. This is absolutely true. Absolutely true, guys. Having an abundance of leads is going to make a big difference in how you talk to people. It's going to make a big difference in how your business is run. Get back to the screen here real quick. Right? Because if you have a lot of leads, right, you know that business is coming. And what ends up happening is when you don't have a lot of leads, you start compromising. You start compromising the way you do business. So when people ask you to give them a discount, or if people ask for a rebate on your commission, you know, when you have no other business, it's very difficult to hold the line, right? But if you have a full database, if you have a full calendar, if you will, of business, then it's very easy to put that off and say, listen, no, I have 2 or 3 more buyer appointments this week. I can only handle so many buyers. So because of that, unfortunately, you know, there isn't a room, or there isn't a way for me to think of a rebate to my commission, because I have so much other business coming. You know, out of the 3 or 4 people I'm meeting with, at least 1 or 2 of them won't ask me about that. So that way, you know, you don't have to worry about it. But if it's the only business you have, and the person that you're sitting in front of is your only source chance of getting income in the next 60 to 90 days, then, you know, you might be more prone to compromise. So something to think about there. All right, so, you know, Ignite is 4 weeks where you're going to learn the foundation for your success, including your daily success habits. And your daily habits are the things that successful agents do every day, right? Lead generation. And your first 2 weeks of the system is called Spark. And Spark is the incubator for success, where you'll learn how to have a successful mindset, how to lead generate, and get confidence in your first appointments. And after learning these fundamentals and developing some successful client relationships in Spark, then you'll move on to the elemental section, where you'll learn the skills to take those appointments to a successful closing. So basically the spark gets you those appointments, and then the elementals helps you facilitate those appointments to get the results that you're looking for at the end of it.
I don't see
Yes.
any screen. Oh, better now. Thank you.
Better now?
Yes, able to see you, not the presentation.
Can you see me now?
Yes, your sphere, people you meet in one way, shape, or form.
That's it.
Okay, thank you.
All right.
We're back
So
on
you
black
speak-
screen. It's black screen again.
That whole video threw everything off. Sorry about this, guys. We're going to get you back into it here. Okay. The slide should be your sphere. That's what we should be seeing here. Okay. We're here. Your sphere. People you have met in one way, shape, or form. Is it still there, or did it go black?
We're able to
Still
see
there.
it.
You just
Black
went
again.
Now.
Everything's back to normal now. Okay. So we're talking about your sphere of influence, right? The people that you already know, the people that you have already met, people that know, they trust you, they respect you, and therefore they're likely willing to help you, because after all, the people like to do business with who they know, trust, and respect, right? So these are people you've already established a reciprocal communication with, people of your sphere. So the contacts in your phone, right, are a good place to start for the sphere, right? And would you prefer to do business with someone you know, trust, and respect? I think so, right? Do you think your friends and acquaintances would rather use a realtor they know and trust? I think so too, right? According to NAR, 66% of sellers and 41% of buyers found their agent through a friend, neighbor, or relative, or used an agent they had worked with before. That's more than half the sellers, right? 66%, and 41%, almost half the buyers. So leveraging your database is a great way and a very viable way to start building your business. And as you go through your database, you want to ask yourselves, who do you know that's going through a life change and they could possibly use your help? Like, what kind of life changes do people have in life that could trigger a move? You guys want to brainstorm on this for a second? What do you guys think?
A divorce, moving,
Divorce is a big life change. That'll trigger a move. Right, you're no longer with your partner. Someone's got to go.
Babies or kids moving out to after school.
That's it. Growing families, people making babies, or shrinking families, right? Babies leaving the nest and going off to college.
engagement, marriage,
Marriage, right? Someone starting their family. They don't want to necessarily move in with one. They want to start their new homes, new lives in a new home. All very good, very valid.
Loss of a loved one.
The loss of a loved one. The loss of a loved one, yes, absolutely. If they have a house that they needed to sell. Absolutely. That could actually be much more impactful these days because of Prop 19, right? In the past, if you lost a loved one, somebody took over the house, they got to keep the old tax basis, which made things very convenient and profitable to collect rent. Well, that no longer applies these days, right? With Prop 19, unless you're going to move into the house personally, if they want to keep the house as a rental, the property tax basis gets readjusted. So instead of paying a few $1,000s in property taxes over the course of the year, These days, what do we know? Houses are worth 1.2, 1.5 to start in our valley. So those property taxes are going to be upwards of $15,000 to $20,000 a year, right? That might motivate someone to sell as opposed to hold on to the property and rent. All good things, guys. You guys are thinking along the right path.
Pets, would pets be a reason?
What's that? One more time.
Acquisition of pets, dogs, cats.
Pets
Would
could
that-
be a reason. You know, it's a great reason if when your neighbor gets a dog that barks all the time. That could be a reason to
okay.
get someone to move.
Okay.
But yeah, no, pets are growing the family, right? If you're living in an apartment and you don't, or maybe you're renting a house and you really wanted to have a dog your whole life, well, your rental situation may not be conducive for that. So, right, when you're talking to friends that are renters, if they want pets, maybe it's time for them to buy a house so they can have the pet they want. Absolutely. Absolutely. All right. So in your participant guide on page 8, there's a little chart there that says likelihood of a move over time, right? If the average person moves every 8 to 10 years, right after they move, the likelihood they'll want to move again is at its very low point. But over time, they begin to be more likely to look at buying, selling, or moving. Right, and this chart shows, let's say, at the top valley here is people moving, and the bottom is right after they move, right? So most of us in our adult lives, on average, they say it looks like three moves. So the peaks are the waves, so the moment a person moves and the likelihood of a move then moves them into a trough. But over time, the likelihood of a move, right, it builds back up again. So the trick is here, you know, look through your sphere of influence, look through your phone books, right? And find 5 to 7 people from your sphere and add them to this model, right? Who do you know that maybe recently moved? Or who do you know that might be thinking about moving soon? Or who's somewhere in the middle? Right, people that have been in their home a long time, might be looking to upgrade. Maybe they're growing their family. Maybe their family's shrinking. So going through your database and putting people on the chart be a good place to start. Right, but then we need to reach out to folks, right? And the key is, you know, the point is, you want to keep touching people over time. I wouldn't say just only contact the people that are near the top of the sphere, right? Because, I mean, how would you feel if your friends only called you if they wanted something from you? Right? Would they feel that they cared about you? Right? Not necessarily. So it's important. It's important to touch people at every aspect of this spectrum here. Even if they've just moved and their likelihood of them moving is slim. Number one, they may know someone that would like to move. The reality, guys, is the law of attraction. When you're in the process of doing something, the chances are you're going to come across others that are going through the same process. And moving is no different than buying a car or anything like that when it comes to those types of things. Right? You might not know anyone thinking about a move, but when you're thinking about a move or you just moved, what do you do? What do people do? They talk about it, right? They get by the water cooler at work and they talk about, what'd you do this weekend? Oh, I was house hunting. Oh, really? I'm thinking about house hunting too, right? So just the likelihood of them coming across people that are going through a similar path is pretty high. Even if someone just moved. So we still want to reach out to those people that just moved because they're still excited about moving. Even if we're not the agents that help them, right? Because we just got our license, if you will. But it's still a good idea to reach out and offer service, offer care. And if they're
Mark,
not
this
ready
is
to move
one
now,
of
hopefully
the-
they know someone. Go ahead, I'm sorry.
Mark, I
Hilda,
was
was it
going to
you?
comment on the wave. That's one of, yeah, that is one of Jason Abrams' favorite illustrations in the Keller Williams guidebooks. So he talks about this as being one of the measures that's often overlooked in our industry, and why real estate agents do not consistently use the same agent for life. And he says it's because it's a 7 to 10 year cycle between the times that people make a major move. Not often, I mean, not in all occasions, but certainly in most occasions where there's a stable household. You know, people will transition in, you know, buy their first home for whatever they can afford. Then they transition and buy a, or, you know, sell and purchase a new home when they start their family and have children. Then, you know, kind of the reverse happens when, you know, they need to downsize as they age. So historically, there are 3 or 4 large events in life when we do, you know, purchase and sell real estate. And so that important time frame is the nurture period in between, you know, the curves, that we have to stay in touch with people. And I just want to point out that Lupita here on the call is a living example of that, because she nurtured someone, I believe it was for like 7 years in her drip campaign. And when he called her, he said, come on down, I want to list with you. And she says, so many years had gone by. She's like, well, don't you want to see what I'm doing? He says, I've been receiving your newsletter for 7 years. I'm good. He knew her already in that time frame. So it is really critical, even when you think people aren't, you know, listening or reading your material, they absolutely are. So make sure that you use command and start these nurture campaigns so that you can have amazing success like Lupita.
Yeah, absolutely. And also, guys, don't assume that the wave is the same length for everybody. You know, we just had a neighbor that lives behind me. They just moved into the neighborhood a year and a half ago. Well, COVID hit. Guess what? They have 4 kids and nobody else in this neighborhood or in our area to help them with childcare. So although they came here for work prior to COVID, right, they're now leaving, going back to New Jersey because they don't have anyone to help them with their kids, and they don't necessarily need to be here for work anymore. So, you know, just because on the average, right, people move 8 to 10 years, doesn't mean that someone that maybe just bought a house 1 or 2 years ago isn't ready to sell now. I also have clients I sold a home to 2 years ago, and they're looking at the market and saying, wow, I paid 1.2 for this house, is now worth 1.5 at least in a 2-year period. Now maybe it's time to go to Austin and buy a house for cash out there with the equity that we've made between our down payment and whatnot in our investment here. And that's not uncommon. So just because someone may have moved into their house a year or 2 ago doesn't mean they may not be ready to go. So the only way you know is by reaching out and touching base with people and letting them know that you care about them and letting them know about the services you provide. Right? Think about the
You're
people that you
absolutely
trust.
right. COVID changed everything.
It did. And just think about it. Think about the people you care about, and think about the people that you trust with your money, right? Would you rather work with someone that you know, someone that you've known in the past or have a good relationship with, or prefer to work with a total stranger? I personally would rather work with somebody I know that has either some level of expertise or is learning their expertise. Right? And the other thing is you need to stay top of mind as the realtor of choice consistently. So when they're ready to move, you're their first call. The statistics say that you lose that top of mind awareness about 3 or 4 days after touching somebody. What does that mean? Does it mean that they forget that you're a real estate agent in 3 or 4 days? No, absolutely not. They'll remember. But what the difference is after 3 or 4 days, you lose that top of mind share. You know, we're busy doing our things and going about our day, right? If you contact someone, make that connection, achieve that top of mind awareness, right? If they come across another person in the next day or 2 that reaches out with a need, maybe by the water cooler, hey, I was out looking at houses, or something to trigger that. if you talk to them recently, the chances of them then referring you are very, very high. But after 3 or 4 days, you lose that top of mind, that peak of mind awareness. Okay. So maybe 2 or 3 weeks after you called someone and they're standing by the water cooler and someone says something about moving. Well, do they mention you? They might, but the likelihood isn't as high. Not because they think you're a bad person, not because they think you're not good at your job, but just because you haven't touched them in so long that your needs are no longer forefront in their mind. So they kind of let that opportunity pass, right? So it's very important that we have a system or a plan to make sure that you're in touch with the people that are in your database on a consistent and regular basis. And in the Millionaire Real Estate Agent book, it's called the 33 touch plan. Well, if you think about it, 33 touches means you're touching someone every week and a half or so, right? So we'll go ahead, we'll get into more of that in a little bit. But anyone have any questions or concerns before I move on from the wave slide? All right, so don't fear your spirit, guys. Ford method is a system of conversation, if you will. It relies on a couple of important, I guess, factors, right? Number one factor is the factor of reciprocity, right? When you ask someone about something, they in turn return that question, if you will. And that's what this script is kind of predicated on, right? And when you're starting your business or starting your career, this is probably the most important script that you want to understand, because that's the conversation you're going to be having when you're reaching out to the people in your sphere of influence, right? So the F stands for family, O stands for occupation, R stands for recreation, and D stands for dreams. Okay. When you ask the questions about people's family, chances are, especially if they're obviously, if you're cold calling people that don't know you from Adam, they're not going to ask you questions back. They're going to do what they can to get off the phone as fast as possible. So Ford is not going to work for people that you're cold calling. Okay. Ford is a system of conversation for working your sphere of influence. People that already know you, that you care about, that care about you. And for new agents, this is going to be your greatest source of business. Okay. So when you call someone, first question is, hey, how's your family doing? How's your mom? How's your husband? How's your wife? How are your kids doing? We want to take good notes so that when we're following up and making these calls again in a few weeks, we have some bases of reference, right? Hey, how's your husband? How's he doing in his new job? How are your folks doing? Are they ready to retire yet? Or how are your kids doing? Are they getting ready for school again? Right? Question about family. Hopefully, they'll in turn ask you a question about your family, to which you can respond. Now, the next question is about occupation. How's work going? Hopefully, they'll reciprocate that question. And this is your opportunity to let people know what you're up to. Hey, I've started a new career. I'm now a real estate professional with Keller Williams Realty. Very excited about this new opportunity, looking to help people buy or sell homes. Actually, let's be specific. I'm looking to find 2 or 3 people I can help buy a home this month. Or I'm looking for 2 or 3 people who I can help move in the next 30 days. Who do you know that's looking to make a move? Right? You guys doing anything fun? R for recreation. Any vacations coming up? Anything interesting you're planning as we're coming out of COVID? Or what are you doing for entertainment during these times? Maybe make some suggestions. what did we used to do in the past, or what are we doing now is a little different. Maybe you've seen some cool things on Netflix you can share with them. And then the last one is D stands for dreams. What does the future hold for you guys? I know we're coming out of a pandemic. Anything specific or exciting that you guys are planning on in the future? And you look for those clues. Oh, we're thinking about growing our family. Or our teenagers is about to apply for colleges. Right? You can leverage that knowledge, obviously take notes, and offer your services again. Or when they reciprocate to those questions, right? This is where you can, again, ask for business. I'm focused on being the rookie of the year in my office. I know in order to do that, I'm going to need to sell about 8 to 10 houses this year. Can you help me make my dreams come true? Do you know that wants to buy or sell a home? Or I'm working with this great mentor. We were able to successfully sell a house way above list price. We're excited to find more people that we can help, that wants to sell their home. My experience has been, especially for new agents, it's much easier to get buyers. They're kind of the lower hanging fruit. Right now, there's more buyers in the marketplace than listings anyway, to that effect. But also buyers are your expense is not necessarily out of their pocket, if you will. So the likelihood of them trusting a new agent to help them buy a house is pretty high. A lot higher than a listing opportunity, if you will. Because listings, they do cost the seller, right? Our fees. And the results are fairly dependent upon our talent. So if you're looking for a listing, obviously someone that's close to you, that knows you, knows what kind of person you are, they could still have confidence and give you that opportunity. But a lot of the people, they're going to want to see some success first. So it could be important if you're going to go after listings to get with a great mentor and team up with them for your first couple of transactions, because they have the track record to be able to convert those listings into transactions. I know when I was new, that was my biggest challenge. I was able to list my mom's home because she's mom, who also she's going to list with, right? But the first 4 or 5 listing appointments I went on were not very successful. And a lot of that, actually everything, was attributed to my lack of experience in that field. Buyers were easy. Listings, not so much. If I had a good mentor, we would have got them all. And today I would have got them all, those same appointments would have converted. Because now I do have the track record, right? So just some things to think about.
Question mark.
Yes, please.
So that kind of hesitance is there even for buyers? Just kind of go for with the new agents. So how do we address that?
Well, number one is the best way to, the easiest way to address it is to have confidence. If you're confident in your presentations, if you're confident in your abilities, or if you're confident talking about what you're discussing, then the likelihood of them even questioning your experience is very, very low. So confidence will go a long way. But also, again, leverage the agents in the office. Leverage your mentor if you have any doubts about that.
Oh, supplemental
And especially,
question.
I guess now when the market's so very, very competitive, and it's not necessarily easy to have a buyer get into contract, then again, you may want to fall back on the success of the office or success of your mentor and say, hey, well, we did get a buyer in escrow the last couple of weeks. We were able to beat out 7 or 10 other offers.
Mhm.
And, you know, learn the word we,
We.
because that'll help. That'll, you know, who is we? Well, me and the mentors in my office, me and the people that are working hand in hand to ensure our success. Right.
Okay. So at what point do we bring in our mentors? If we are going to kind of project confidence, and so where do we bring in the mentors, the we part into the conversation there?
Well, you want to do that from the beginning when people are asking you questions. Hey, how's it going with your new venture, right? As a real estate professional. Well, I'm excited. You know, I've joined Keller Williams Realty. I've teamed up with a mentor. This is the successes that we've had.
Okay. Okay. Thank you.
So the successes from the mentor would be, hey, you know, we were successfully able to list the property and get it sold for X number over list price, or we got my clients 200,000 more than we anticipated. Or we just delivered on a buyer presentation and we're able to beat out 7 other bidders and win the house for our clients.
Okay. That helps. Thank you.
Okay. Any questions on the Ford before we move on to the tools?
Just wanted to add something. I was reading Ninja, what is the name of the book? Ninja Selling. And
Ninja Selling, yeah.
regarding, you know, telling people help you when you ask, oh, I have this and this goal, I want to help that many people, or can you help me? Or can you help me become Rookie of the Year? It can be a little turn off for many people if you focus on your goals and what you want them to help you, instead switching it somehow to what you can do for them.
You can do that as well. You know, a lot of that, it depends on the conversation, right? They're asking you. So when they ask you, then respond. Right. If they don't ask you, then don't respond in that manner, right? If you ask someone about their work and they're asking you about their work, or if you ask them about their goals, and then they ask you what are some of your goals, then go ahead and mention what your goals are.
Yeah.
Does that make sense? But if they're not asking you for it, then then you have to circumvent that in another way. And you're absolutely right. You know, what can you do for them is a great way.
Yeah. Thank you.
Anyone else have any thoughts, concerns? No? All right, let's move on to knowing the tools. So at Keller Williams, I mean, we give you a very powerful tool in Command, right? That's going to help you work your sphere of influence, and then take notes and make sure that you have, well, take notes. Take notes is very important with regards to your conversations. You know, when you're working with maybe 50 or 60 people, it's easier to keep things straight. And when your database grows to 200, 300, 400 people, it becomes a little more challenging to keep things straight. So it's important to have tools in our hand to be able to help us remember, you know, the conversations that we've had with our past clients, and then remind us of who we have to contact on a regular basis. Right. So, you know, Command is integrated end-to-end Keller Cloud platform. It contains several critical business applets for helping you run and grow your business. And it's also a tool that'll help you manage your database and cultivate your connections, and then progress your contacts to the close. So in Spark, we're going to focus on entering the contacts into Command and using smart plans to engage those contacts and touch campaigns. And we'll learn more about that in the lead generation module. But you guys, are you familiar with Command and how to log into Command?
Yes.
Good. You guys know how to add contacts into Command?
Yes.
do this real quick. Command is pretty intuitive. I mean, it's fairly simple to follow the instructions. Add contact, upper right-hand corner, add contact. And really, you want to fill in as much information about people as you can as you have. So if you have their name, phone number, and email, and address are the most critical things. If there's something that you're missing, it's a good idea to go through a script to get that information as you reach out to people. You know, one thing that's also a little overlooked is your friends database on your Twitter and your social media, you know, your Facebook friends list, so forth and so on. And to try to merge as many people as you can into the command and set them up on smart plans. And are you guys familiar with what a smart plan is?
Yes.
All right. So yeah, smart plan is basically a plan of attack. What's going to happen with this data, with this contact record over a certain period of time, if you will. So there's smart plans like a 33 touch plan. There's smart plan. There's hundreds of smart plans actually. So explore command and see what works best for you. Ideally though, right, you want to make sure that we're touching everyone on a regular basis through a combination of phone calls, emails, text messages, and we want to vary that over time. Yeah, a lot of us are, depending on the generation, you know, maybe more adept to texting or instant messaging, and that's important too. But don't underestimate the power of actual conversations. So my coaching clients will know that you know, I say text people, it's okay, but text them as a text them to try to get them to agree to a phone conversation, because it's hard to go through the forward script via text. But via text, it's really easy to ask for their permission to have a 5-minute conversation. So we put that together. So, you know, the powerful database is going to produce leads, right? A powerful database managed by powerful scheduling and planning tools, it should help produce a predictable flow of leads and a predictable flow of business for your real estate career and business. So that's what command is. It's just a tool to nurture and manage relationships, and then to schedule and track your interactions that you have with the people in your database, so that you can maintain the top of mind share and really have better conversations with them as you move forward throughout your career. You know, as you go through the forward script, when you ask them questions about their family, take notes in command. So that way, when you're following up next month or next couple of weeks, or even next quarter, right, you have a reference as to your previous conversation. You can go back and ask people about those interactions. All right. There we are. All right. Now let's talk a little bit about your Ignite toolkits. There's a toolkit in the Ignite materials, the toolkit files. Hopefully you guys have received those files. You may want to follow along electronically as we go through things, but sometimes it's a good idea to print these things out just so you can have a visual reference in front of you. Now, some of the items in the slide are just some of the items in the toolkit. You want to review these, as well as some additional items in your toolkit packets. There's a resources job aid. It's like a table with a list of resources with a description and an explanation in the contents and where to find those resources. And then there's also some blank spaces where you can use to fill in market specific, the market center specific resources.
Hi, Mark.
Yes, question.
Where's the link for this resources?
One more time.
Where can we find a link for this toolbox?
Oh, it should be in the toolkit, in the Ignite slide deck. There should be The toolkit. It's a separate slide, not slide, but PDF file. Let's see here.
Is it being emailed to us, or we can achieve? We can access that online. Is there any like a link for that?
Yeah, you should have a link for that. You guys should have had a link to the slide decks. If you don't have one, contact Jackie or Hilda. They should have it for you. Here, I'll show you what it looks like.
I think Bob just share with us on the chat.
Yeah, I think it's in the chat for you, Mark. I got it while you were talking.
Okay, great. Great. So there's 3 toolkits here. There's a Ignite Lab suggested calendar, there's an Ignite toolkit, and then Ignite Elementals toolkit. Hopefully you guys can see. So basically you have this tools, if you will. The 411 is your action goal worksheet. Are you guys familiar with 411? It's basically a way to go through your goals, right? You put on your annual goals, what you like to achieve throughout the year, and then you break it down into monthly, and then you break it down to weekly, what you have to do every week to achieve those goals. You have some basic lead sheets that you can use if you're working with, if you get a buyer lead, with some helpful questions you may want to have them go through. Right, just because someone referred you a buyer doesn't mean that buyer's never maybe talked to any other agents in the past or even recently, right? So you want to know, ask them the questions. Have you ever seen properties before? Has any agents taken you out? Is there anybody else buying the house with you who will be living in your home? Things of that nature. Excuse me. Good things to know. Right. If you ask someone if they've been out looking at homes and they said, yeah, we've been out, we look at 15 homes a week with our agent, we just can't seem to write an offer. You know, that could be your clue as to understanding, hey, is this person someone that's going to be worth my time, or is it someone that's a professional house hunter? All they like to do is look at houses and never buy one. Those people do exist, right? So we got to ask the right questions in order to get them through the process. Let's get back to that. All right. There's the daily 10-4 and the success list. Previewing homes, job aid, a pre-listing questionnaire, and script books. So reference those as you're going through and making your calls. All right. So we went through a daily 10-4. You guys know what I say, what a 10-4 is? From our toolkit. Right, as you plan your day, your habits, right, of growing and managing your database, prospecting, following up, and knowing your market. So as you plan your day, you have to understand what are the things that you want to do. of the stuff that you do every day. And then prioritize those action items, right? Ask yourself, what's the one thing I can do such that by doing it, everything else will be easier or unnecessary? One thing is lead generation, guys. Lead generation is everything. Identify the tasks that support your one thing, right? Label them as should do and rank them in order of priority. That's your 10-4 right there. You want to try to add 10 contacts every day. Have 10 conversations a day about buying or selling a home. Write 10 handwritten notes and preview 10 homes a week. The handwritten notes and conversations kind of go hand in hand, if you will. As you reach out to someone and you have a conversation, you go through the Ford script, taking your notes for your command so you can follow up with them later, and follow up with a quick recap on a handwritten note card. Stick a stamp on it with a couple of business cards inside and send it on. It's the same people. You're talking to the same people you've had a conversation with, or the same people you write your handwritten notes to. What does that do? Well, it re-edifies the conversation you just had. So you just talked to someone about what your plans are. You've asked them about what their goals are. Maybe they've reciprocated, or you've talked to them about their lives, whatever it is that you talked about. You know, summarize in a handwritten note. Throw a couple of business cards in there, they'll get the idea. The whole purpose is just to reinforce that top of mind awareness, right? You just had a conversation with someone, you're top of mind with them today and maybe tomorrow. And then that top of mind awareness starts to fade a little bit. And boom, they get your handwritten note. And it reaffirms your top of mind awareness in their mind for a few more days. Okay. And you know, preview 10 homes a week. It's a good idea to obviously know your marketplace, know what you're talking about when you're talking about the markets and you're conversing with your clients. Sphere of influence. Okay. In the toolkit, we have our scripts book. There's scripts in here to help you lead generate, scripts in here to help uncover motivations, identifying objections, and closing deals. So we want to go through that. You guys have any questions on scripts? No questions? You guys good? You guys ready to go out and lead generate today?
Hi, Mark. I
Yes.
always have a question about scripts. Like, no matter how many scripts I have, I just can make it very natural. And it's really hard for me. So any tips to make it natural and just make it easier for me to call someone and talk?
Practice. Practice, practice, practice. That's the only way. The more you do it, the better at it you'll become. The more you practice, the better at it you'll become. So practice with a mirror if you can't practice with a friend. First thing I would say, you know, if you have a friend in the office, you want to get together and do some script practice, we can do some practice here.
So do you have some like good, like we have so many scripts, but do you have just like really easy to use scripts for just daily calling?
You know, I would say the Ford script is your easiest to use script.
Okay.
Number one, it's not so exact, so you can kind of flow off the top of your head.
Mhm.
If you guys want to role play that, we can role play that. You want to role play that?
Yeah, that would be great.
You want? Okay, I'll call you
Mhm.
like you're a friend from my database.
Mhm.
Ring, ring, ring.
Hello, this is Tina.
Hey Tina, it's Mark Burstein. How you doing?
Yeah, well, I'm doing fantastic. Hi, Mark. How are you doing?
I know it's been a little while. It's been a little while. How's work going for you?
Well, crazy. Kids and family and work together. It's the recipe for disaster. How
You
about
guys
you?
are all recipe for disaster is crazy. Are you working from home now, or what's your situation?
Everyone's working from home. Kids, my husband and me, we need more rooms.
Really?
Hmm.
How long have you been in your house for a long time?
Gosh, yes, from March last year till now. It's almost a year.
Are you renting right now?
No, I'm actually have my own house right now.
Oh wow, awesome. And you've already outgrown, huh?
Well, yes and no. We just cannot afford bigger house. You know, it's so crazy right now.
It's it's an interesting time. It's an interesting time. I know a lot of people are in the same boat as you are, and they're all looking for bigger housing or more space. Have you considered maybe moving out of the area to get some more space?
Well, I got kids. They have string attached. They have their soccer clubs, and they are not moving anywhere. That's the killing factor.
I see. But you guys are looking for more. You guys are hoping for more space.
Well, we love to have more space for sure.
Awesome. If you don't mind, I could prepare a report for you. It'll give you an idea of what your home is worth and what we could possibly get for it, as well as come up with some ideas to maybe get you guys into a bigger place. How does that sound?
I don't know how could you do that. I mean, we would like to stay close to work, and we are already farther away. There's no way we want to move further. And by selling, we'll be priced out of the market and we'll be homeless.
You think you'll be homeless? Well, maybe I can come up with some solutions. Do you guys have maybe 30 minutes that we can sit down with you and your husband and talk about your options?
Well, that might be likely, but I don't think my husband has any time, but I will be available.
Okay. Maybe we can meet via Zoom call. These days with COVID, we're not really going out and necessarily going to people's homes, but if you can make them be available maybe for 30 minutes in the evening tomorrow or maybe Saturday afternoon.
Is it likely we can just make a really quick one, maybe 5 or 10 minutes? Like 30
Sure.
minutes during the weekend? It's not going to work.
Okay. How about 10 o'clock or 10 o'clock on Saturday?
Can we make it afternoon, like around 3 or 4 p.m.? Would that work for you?
I can do 4 p.m.
Okay, that'll be great. Send
Sounds
me the
good.
Zoom link.
Sounds good. We'll see you at 4.
Okay, great. Thank you. This is good.
Kind of got off script a little bit there, but in general, the main thing on that is Tina was identifying herself as someone that wanted to move, right? So I don't want to give a listing presentation today. I'm in the middle of lead generation. So the point is to try to make an appointment for down the road in that regard.
So how
I didn't
long,
really follow forward, did I?
how long,
Go ahead, Tina.
how long do you make a lead gen call? Like, do you have a specific time span you want to stick to? Like, or you would just let it venture into a big conversation?
No, I don't want to venture into a big conversation. Really, you want a lead gen call to be maybe 2 or 3 minutes max.
Okay.
2 or 3 minutes max. So that in the event that you do have that indicator where the prospect is saying, oh yeah, I do want this or I'm thinking about making a move, or my kids are all over each other, we need a bigger house, then you really want to start shifting to trying to schedule a listing appointment or a buyer consultation if they're not homeowners yet.
Okay.
Right. And then you want to, execute those listing appointments or buyer presentations when you actually have the time to do that. And since lead generation is so important, you don't want to rob yourself of your lead gen time. So you time block for the lead gen, try to keep those calls to less than 5 minutes.
Thank you.
There's going to be people that you're good friends, so you're going to sit on the phone a little bit longer, but really keep in mind that you want to get through it, get the information you need, offer solutions, or the solution is an appointment. Any other questions, concerns about the scripts, if you will? You can do it again too if you guys want to do it again. If anyone else wants to volunteer. More volunteers, you guys are good to go?
Let's do it again. Mark.
Let's do it again with who? Who was that?
Me, Lupita.
Lupita. Very good. Let's try again. Let me try to stick to the Ford this time a little better. All right. Ring, ring.
Hello.
Hi, Lupita.
Hi.
Hey, Lupita, it's Mark Burstein.
Hey,
Long time
Mark.
no talk.
How are things?
Not bad. Not bad. Just wanted to reach out to you. I haven't talked to you in a little while. See
Yeah, it's
how
crazy.
you're doing. How's everything with you? How's your family?
Family's doing great. Having the kids at home is challenging. So I want a bigger house. How's the market?
Wow. The market's actually very interesting. Interesting you should ask. The market is going really crazy right now. However, we are, challenged a little bit with inventory, but nothing is unovercomable. You guys have been in your house for a little bit. Are you looking for a bigger place?
Yeah, definitely. A little scared because I see the prices just going up.
All right. Well, I'd love to share with you some information about that. Do you guys, maybe you and Carl would like to sit down and have a conversation maybe this evening or over the weekend? You guys
Yeah,
have
what do you think,
30
Mark?
minutes or so?
Do you think the market's gonna drop?
Do I think the market's going to drop? Well, I don't have a crystal ball, but from what I'm seeing in the market right now, based on the inventory, it's very unlikely that the market's going to drop in the near future. Simply not enough homes available, and there's a lot of buyers in the marketplace right now. But doesn't mean we can't win. We did just have some success last week, beat out 10 offers in a multiple offer situation for my clients. For a lovely 6-bedroom house, about 2,600 square feet. So they're getting ready to move in. They're very excited. So it's not impossible. That's for sure. Love to talk to you and Carl more about that. Do you guys have maybe a half hour later this evening or tomorrow or over the weekend?
Sure, let's do it tomorrow evening.
Okay, great. Tomorrow at 6?
Sounds good. Via Zoom.
Right. We'll see you via Zoom at 6. I'll be happy to provide you with the information about your current property and what we can expect to sell it for. And then we'll get some information about where do you want to go. Do you guys have any ideas to neighborhoods where you'd like to move if you bet you would move?
We do, and we can discuss it to see if it's realistic.
Okay. Good. You guys want to stay kind of where you are, or would you like to go maybe out of the outskirts a little bit?
We're open of going outskirts for the right square footage and area. Mm-hmm.
All right, sounds good. Now I know what to prepare for. All right, very good. So we'll talk tomorrow evening.
Thank you.
Have a great day. That was easy. You guys, I just got through the family part. I didn't have to say much. You guys are offering me appointments already. I love it. Is that reality though?
It could be, because a lot of the families are cooked up with kids and they want to move. Mhm,
Absolutely. Absolutely. It could be easy.
mhm.
Question mark.
Yes, Vasu.
Thank you. Thank you for the demos. And so, say if there is a contact I've been referred to that they're looking for buying a home. So how do we, because then the Ford, how do we apply the Ford model to those kind of referrals? It won't be a straight
Okay.
out.
Yeah, no, the Ford model is only for sphere of influence. Once you get the referral, that's a different conversation. That's a different conversation. You're going to reach out to the referral.
Mhm.
Oh, you want to go through that? Let's go through that real quick.
Yes.
I go ring, ring.
Hello. Hi.
Hello. Hi, is this Vasu?
Yes, this is she.
Hi, Vasu. Vasu, this is Mark Burstein. Vasu, I got your phone number from a very good mutual friend of ours. Actually, my wife, Heather. She mentioned that you were in the market for making a move, possibly buying your first home. Is that correct?
Yeah. Yes. So I'm so glad she mentioned you. Thank you for reaching
Awesome.
out.
No, absolutely. Vasu, I'd love to get schedule some time for us to get together. I'd love to share with you the realistic statistics of what's going on in our real estate market and get an understanding of what you're looking for in your next home. Do you guys have maybe 30 minutes? I could sit down with you and your husband via Zoom, maybe later this evening or tomorrow afternoon.
That sounds like a plan. Let's do that.
Okay, great. What would you prefer?
Zoom call.
Zoom call tomorrow or this evening? Tomorrow?
Yes, tomorrow.
Okay, how about 2 o'clock is okay?
Yes, that works.
Okay, great. Look forward to talking to you tomorrow at 2. It was a pleasure meeting you.
Okay, thank you.
That's it. Thank
Okay.
you very much.
So I got one like that, and they just deferred making a commitment about the call. They said they will just get back after talking to their family. So how do I address that? I should have used that.
Fantastic. Yeah, please give me a call tomorrow and let me know what time. Or is it okay if I follow up with you tomorrow?
Okay.
You want to be in control of these things.
Okay.
Right? So
Yes.
so if you say, well, I need to talk to my husband to figure out what time. Okay, great. Will you be talking to your husband sometime today? Okay, great. So is it okay if I give you a call in the morning to schedule a time?
Okay. So I set up the time with the client and suggest and okay, got it.
Well, that way you're in control.
Got it.
If you push it off to them to call you, maybe they will, maybe they won't. But if you just get their permission to say, hey, is it okay for me to call you, follow up with you tomorrow? If they say, yeah, follow up with me, then you're in control and you will follow up. Right? If they're in control, they may forget
Okay.
to call.
Got it. Got it. Thank you.
Any other questions, concerns?
Yes, about the lead gen. Be realistic. Mark, do you mind? I'm asking a very offensive question. Like,
Please,
do
offend.
can you really stick to the lead gen daily? Like, that's the biggest question. I know it's super important, but I'm failing every single day, and that hurts.
You know, a lot of that is going to be based on your motivation. And how important is it for you to achieve the goals that you've set for yourself? What's the real motivation for being in business? What's your big why?
But the thing
What's
is,
your big why?
my big why is to make a big fortune for my family and the future generation. I want to be the first generation of wealth to pass down. So that's my big why.
Why is that important?
Well, I've been struggling since childhood. I was lucky. My parents provide well to their best. But there's always a limitation there. And I want to do whatever my parents do for me, for my kids, and better. And I know it's going to be very expensive in the Bay Area for my kids to live in 20 years. It's going to be very expensive. So I want to plan long-term wealth for the family and for my kids. And for my retirement, it's like I got 20-year plan already. So that's the big why. And the money, yes, the money is my big why. And the family behind it.
Well, the money is the means to the why. The why, the real why is your family behind it, right?
Yes.
So how important is it for you to be able to provide that for your children?
Well, it's important, but it's not killing important. Like I do have other ways, and that hurts. Like real estate is one mean to get to there, and as a major part of my asset allocation. So and that, so I don't have a laser sharp focus, and I'm not that desperate, and that's my biggest challenging. Like I'm not desperate enough to do it to get all out.
So,
Is Mark there with you?
no, why?
Okay. So, I mean, ultimately it's going to be about your motivation, right? So if you think about your kids and you think about the goal in mind, well, that's the ultimate reason for making the calls that you have to make, right? What's the main motivation for that? Is it the kids? Is it something that you like to do during the day? I mean, some of us, you know, if you like to golf during the day, and that's your big why, well, I know that if you lead generate for 2 or 3 hours in the morning, it's easy to spend the next 4 or 5 hours in the evening or afternoon playing golf. If you set up a couple of appointments, then it's easy to go, you know, to allocate time for doing other things. So what's the most important thing? You said there's other things that you can do to generate the wealth. Well, what is that?
Oh, stock market, of course. I do tradings, option tradings.
And how successful is that?
Well, let's say it's good money.
Right, wins and losses, right? It's not necessarily, you don't always win in that scenario, right? You could have shorted GameStop and then you'd be in big trouble.
Of course.
Right?
Yeah, I'm very
So,
conservative.
I mean,
So, but it's good money, but just not good enough to achieve my goal by itself.
yeah, and that's it. You know, you just have to trick yourself to motivate yourself to get out and do the actions necessary to build your real estate business. Because I mean, average home price these days is what? What's the average home price these days, guys?
In my market, it's about 2 million and up.
Right, at 2 million and up, what's the average commission per home sold?
2.5.
2%.
So 2.5 of 2 million is what? 20, 40, 50K, right? So every listing that's 2 million and up is worth about 50K. How many listings can you generate making calls for a 2 or 3 hour period? How many people can you talk to?
Yeah, that's the thing. I've been talking to a lot of people for a long time, and it takes forever. And I've been offering like electricians, mortgage lenders, tree service. I've been doing a lot of service along the years. Not that, yeah, I'm only being in the business for about a year, but yes, I'm answering in different platforms for providing different services or sincerely. And some success, but I have to say 90% just keeping myself out there so people knowing I'm there if they need someone. It does generate some tractions, but it just very slowly. And so like, yeah, it hurts.
It takes time. It takes time to build. If it was easy, everybody would be rich.
Yeah.
Right?
I know.
But you just dedicate and persevere and continue to make those calls, because every call that you make, every time, every hurdle that you have, every time you refer someone, it will bring you that much closer to that listing appointment or that buyer referral. And learn and internalize the scripts that are in these guidelines and booklets, because they will help you convert those folks and bring them down that path. You know, the more you practice, the better at it you will become. And the more you do it, the better at it you'll become. Davis has a, how would you respond if a seller says, I know you can sell my home for quick and multiple offers based on how the market's going, but how can you guarantee me that you can help us buy a joke back in the Bay Area within the next 30 days after close of escrow if everyone is overbidding so much? Aha. Well, that's the situation right there. I mean, ultimately, you have to know what your market is, okay? And you have to understand what will get people where. So if someone is looking for a home and they give you a budget, well, you should understand by previewing and by looking at the marketplace, what realistically is that home worth, or what realistically is that home selling for, okay? And there are no guarantees, but I guarantee you this, the person that wins the bidding war, the person that's going to buy the house, is the one that's the most motivated to do so. Okay? They love that house, and there's some type of pressure to motivate them to move forward and actually do what's necessary to buy that house. And in today's market, you know, you have to throw the list price pretty much out the door. It's irrelevant when you're working with a buyer. The only thing that matters is what's been selling and what it's sold for. So that's something you have to gain knowledge by analyzing the markets, right? If you come to my market, which I know the best is where I live, kind of Cambrian, Willow Glen area, you know, $1,000 a square foot is the basic benchmark. So if you want a 2,000 square foot house, it starts at $2 million. I don't care that they're listed at 1.5 or 1.6. It starts at $2 million. If you don't have that budget, you're not living here. You're not buying here. You have to move them elsewhere and say, well, it's not going to work here with your budget, but your budget could work maybe in Blossom Valley, which is a little further down the road. Those guys are a little bit more affordable. And again, it's based on what's selling there, not what's listed there. So the reality is a lot of times on the upside, you don't know what you're going to come out with, right? We do our best to gauge that, and we do a market analysis to say, well, we can probably get you 1.5, 1.6 for your house. We might get you 1.8. That changes things, right? An extra $200,000. But we don't know until the offers come in. So what you do is you put the house on the market. You see where you're at when the offers come in. You negotiate a rent back for 30 to 60 days so you don't have to move twice. Once that situation hits, you then have a clear understanding of what your budget is, right? Wow, we got our 1.7 for this house, which is 150, 200 more. That gives us X number of buying power on the other side. And now you're motivated because you got to leave your house in 60 days. So when you're out looking for properties, there's properties hopefully that appeal to them that will fit their budget. And then it's a matter of winning. And then it's up to your talent. You have to call the listing agents. You have to create relationships. You have to build rapport, get them to like you, get them to understand that you're going to provide the easy solution to their problem, and that you have an ultra motivated buyer. And hopefully they'll share with you what you need to, where you need to be in order to win the scenario. And if you have a motivated seller, a motivated buyer that's willing to step up to the plate, you do your market analysis, guys. When you're having 15, 20 offers that you're competing with, you're not looking at the averages. You're not looking at anything except for the highest comp. And the highest comp is your starting point. That's it. And if you take that approach, then the likelihood of successful winning in 2 or 3 tries is pretty high. It's pretty high. You know, unless you're in San Francisco, you can just walk to the living room window and look outside, right? There's no homeless people outside, but people are selling their homes. So we'll find you a home to buy. That's it. Just have confidence. And as long as they understand that wherever they are is no longer fitting their needs, right? Doesn't fit your needs anymore. No, we're having kids. We're growing out of this house. We're on top of each other in COVID. We need more space. Okay, well, we can solve that problem. How do you solve that problem? Well, we sell this one first, and then we buy the next one. And just convince them and let them know that you do everything or whatever it takes to achieve that end. If what we have is if what we If what you want is not actively on the market or we're losing, well, what do? We do everything we can. We'll write letters. We'll go through the neighborhood and see if we can't strum up a private sale for you. Or offer solutions to their problems. Any other questions or concerns? That we were talking about scripts, dialogues. You guys ready to go at it today?
Mark, I do have a question, but it's off
Yes.
something we were living on the weekend, Nick and I. How do you know how much the appraiser is going to give the value for an ADU? How are appraisers doing that right now?
It's tough to say. I don't have the specific answer to that question. I'm not an appraiser. They do give values to the ADUs, I would say, based on their rent they generate, and then based on the overall square footage of the property.
And do you know, I have a follow-up question for that. So we were looking at, in the prelim, you know how it usually says the ALTA covers a single family home, but it doesn't address anything with an ADU. I know it's a new thing, the ADU, so.
It is. The ADUs are relatively new. If you look for comps, maybe check the comps with the duplexes or multi-unit, because that's really what they're getting at, if you will, with the ADUs. And a lot of that's going to depend on, you know, I've seen these things in various stages, from being glorified shacks to actually being livable units. But, you know, people still live in those glorified shacks, believe it or not. So exactly how much to appraise them at, I have no idea. I would say your best comps are the comps in the marketplace of a similar size square footage homes.
Square footage, okay. Thank you.
Yeah, square footage, bedrooms, bathrooms, square footage are the three biggest factors there. So just to share with you guys what we'll be going through the next few days, or the next month, if you will, right? The Spark Learning modules. Today we had our orientation. We'll be talking about the lead generation, understanding scripts. We'll definitely get more into scripts as the week progresses, right? Setting up your database and feeding it, setting goals that matter. We'll talk about how to use the 411 and applying the 80-20 principle to achieve your goals. But delivering your value proposition, right? In that module, you'll define your value to the client and develop a script for delivering your value proposition. That's the big why you, why now? Finding and winning the buyer. Talk about how to find buyers and then take buyer opportunities from contact to closing. We'll talk about working with sellers. And it's similar to working with buyers, but instead focused on finding sellers. Right, we'll go over the day in the life of a real estate agent. Right, how do successful agents structure their day? And this module will give you a framework on how to structure your day so you can meet your goals and have a successful business. Right, and with each module offered, you know, there's a participant guide. You want to take notes, so that'll help you refer as you go back. And then as we go to the elemental mode, the elements after the 2 weeks, we'll talk more about prospecting, marketing, open houses. Well, open houses aren't really working these days, are they? But I think we'll have a nice modifier there for us with virtual open houses, and how to actually deliver the appointments. Remember, the Spark series is to help you get those appointments, right? And Elemental is going to be more along the lines of delivering on those appointments. How to close the seller appointment, how to close buyer appointments, how to make and receive offers, negotiating transactions, and the basics of financials. And then anything specific to your market centers. Now we'll be going through the daily 10-4, right? The 4 habits: growing and managing your database every day, try to add 10 new contacts to your database. If you can add 10 people to your database every day, it's not easy. Yeah, this is, I would call this almost a pie in the sky thing. But if you can find 10 new people to add to your database every day, you're going to make so much money in this business. It's not even funny, especially with, you know, $1.5 to $2 million average prices. Prospecting, right? You want to speak with at least 10 people in your database every day. Following up, you want to write the 10 note cards, the people you've recently contacted, and then knowing your market, and that's previewing at least 10 homes a week. Right, to get contacts into your database, you need to have a good reason for them to grow your database. Think about what information you can provide. Why is it that? Why would it be of value to someone to share another person's contact information with you? What can you provide them? Think about that. Right. And make the most of this opportunity, guys. We're going to be getting together every day. Well, not me exactly. You're going to have a variety of instructors. Some of the top agents in the market centers will be sharing with you their insights. Attend and learn as much as you can. And then be sure to time block that time while you're excited hopefully excited after your sessions. Right, to make the most of it and actually go out and prospect. Call your spheres of influence. Go through the 4th script. Identify a great excuse for them to share other people's contact information with you.
Hi, Mark. A quick question.
Yes.
So for lead gen, do you lead gen on Facebook? Do you use Messenger on Facebook to call people or other apps to call people? Or are you just using your phone numbers to call? So what's the best combination? Everything.
You know, it's good to reach out through Messenger to touch base with your Facebook friends. You can reach out through Messenger to say, hey, you got 2 minutes for a quick call to catch up. Haven't seen you in a while, haven't talked to you in a while. Would love to catch up with you. You got 5 minutes? If they say yes, great, then you call them. Okay.
One question on top of that. So as a Chinese community, they use WeChat a lot. And sometimes they just say, just WeChat me. And they don't like to share a phone number, but they share WeChat, like we can call through the WeChat. So what's your take on that?
Call through the WeChat.
Okay. Oh, yeah. That's a good one.
Yeah. I mean, the most important thing is to have some kind of two-way dialogue with your prospect, whether they're calling them on the phone. Text messaging, I don't think is quite as effective, but if you could turn that into some kind of, not necessarily a Zoom call, but what, a video chat or something like that, that works too.
Thank you.
And I guess, you know, there's certain generations, I guess, that are more adept to text messaging. And if that's your prospect, then text message, whatever you got to do. I think that when you converse with someone, you have the greatest chance of success, if you will. But if someone's not willing to converse with you with a voice or a video chat, then that's okay. And you just text them. It is what it is. All right. All right, guys, you guys good?
One question, Mark.
Yes, please.
So other than just practicing scripts and adding contacts, what should be the goal at the end of each of this Ignite Spark series? Sort of like a daily must-do activity at the end of this session.
Well, the must-do at the end of the session is, of course, you know, take action and reach out to your database. If you're brand new, the first thing you want to do is build your database. So look for the people that you're going to reach out to initially.
Okay.
Go through your Facebook friends list, go through your phone list, and create in Command, or if you have another CRM type of program, an action plan to then call everyone or contact them either via, I guess, text or WeChat, and take notes
Okay.
on that conversation so you can have a better conversation next time around.
Okay.
And understand this is the long game. You guys made it a little easy for me in the process. There'll be times not everyone's going to want to have an appointment with you when you talk to them, but that's okay. You just let them know that you're available for them, that you have information that they'd be remiss to miss. And if they have a need, then you want to set the appointment. If they don't have an immediate need themselves, everything's going well with their family, they don't need a bigger house, ask them about their dreams or what they'd like to do in the future. And when they reciprocate and ask you, then you can ask for referrals.
Okay. Okay. That helps. Thank you.
Yep. One of the things that I offer to people in my database that are homeowners, you can set this up through the MLS, or I use Property Minder for this, is basically every week I send you a recap of what's going on in your marketplace, what homes are selling for, what's new on the market, so that you can feel secure about the value of your home. Would you like to feel secure about the value of your home? And most people say yes. Then great, you set them up on a property search, and you send them property listing information in their neighborhood. And then I check to see who's checking that. If they check it, you call them. If they don't care about it, they won't check it. That's okay. It'll go again next week. It'll go again next week. It'll go again next week. I've had clients that ignored those reports for years, but then all of a sudden they start looking. That's when you got to call them and reach out for another level. But the most important thing is to build those lists, build a list, that database of people, and communicate with them on a regular basis.
Hi, Mark. So you just mentioned you share the recent sold. How do you come up with those documents, and how can you track who are checking on those? Is a link?
So that depends on it depends on the tools that you use. I use the Property Minder, which is a website solution I've been a part of my entire career. But basically on that system, you could put the person's address where they live, and you could set up a property search for their neighborhood. And then the search just goes continuously for active spendings and solds. And it'll trigger an email to them whenever there's something new. So when a new listing comes on, it'll email them.
Does KW Command also offer that options?
No. KW Command will do a smart plan so that it'll remind you to send emails to people, or it'll send like calendar-based emails. There's no system that'll send property listing information through Command that I'm aware of. They should be working on something like that. But you can also set that up with the MLS.
Okay.
Just set up a search for them on the MLS and save it, and it'll do that. The insights aren't as good, but it's something. The only concern with the MLS system is that it turns off after a while.
Oh yeah, 30 days only.
Yeah, it'll turn off. Whereas my Property Minder search goes.
Is that expensive?
It'll go until they turn it off. It's about $1,000 a year, less.
Doesn't matter how many emails are you sending out. It's about 1,000 a year for that account.
Doesn't matter.
Great, thank you.
No limits. Yep. You're welcome. All right, Nick mentioned here that biweekly neighborhood snapshot's a good option for sending information on what's on the market in a neighborhood through Nextdoor. Yep, there's a smart plan for that. Well done, Nick. All right. All right, guys. So you have your daily success habits, right? Try to add the 10 contacts a day. Have those conversations and the handwritten notes. And I think that's about it for today's session. Thank you for joining me. If you have any further questions, concerns, or would like any other help right now, I'm here. Otherwise, we'll see you guys. I'll be with you guys tomorrow too.
Thanks, Mark.
Thank you,
So
Mark.
thanks, guys.
So much. Thank you, Mark.
Go get them.
It was great.
Go get them, guys.